Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Friday, October the 2nd. Race number 11 at Pimlico. It's an edition of the historic Pimlico Special. It's a grade 3, $250,000 is the purse. Before we get to the analysis, check out our Preakness wagering strategy guide. All the betting strategies for the Preakness, the Black-Eyed Susan, and the full card on Preakness Saturday available at drf.com/Preakness or shop.drf.com. Here's the field for the grade 3 Pimlico Special. Remember, you can download free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Access them, handicap along with us. And Mike, they got the right morning line favorites, certainly. The number 8 Owendale gets some class relief after facing some of the better older handicap horses in the country.
Yeah, man, he's run pretty well against some of those tougher rivals as well, Dan. It just feels like they've really found the right spot for him here. And he is going to be a very short price, it feels like, come post time.
Now, last time out, he was confronted with a slow pace. He was a lot closer to that pace than usual. We take a look at the Timeform U.S. pace projector for this year's edition of the Pimlico Special. And again, Timeform U.S. not expecting that fast of a pace, perhaps. The blue bar indicating that this race might favor horses on or near the early lead. The number 8 Chiclet on your screen is Owendale. Do you think Johnny V is going to try to get Owendale close like last time, or revert to that one-run style that I think works a little better for him?
I guess that's up to Johnny, I guess, to see how he plays it. I do agree that there's not a lot of pace in this race. It also just sort of feels like, Dan, maybe some of the other horses are going to be more badly compromised than Owendale would be. Listen, Johnny's a great rider. I'm sure he'll have this horse in the right position.
It's kind of tough to predict who's going to make the running, isn't it? It's not like there are really any burners in here. I guess the one Cordmaker is as good as any, and Cordmaker was third in this race last year. I have a feeling he might have been entering last year's Pimlico Special, Mike, in better form than this year, but at least his last race was a step in the right direction.
That's what I thought. His form last year through the spring and summer was just a lot better than it's been so far this year. And so we'll see if he can just sort of find his way back to one of his really good races. I still sort of wonder, Dan, even if he shows up and just fires his best shot, I still sort of wonder whether he's good enough to beat this field over this distance. I know that he ran pretty well in this race last year, but that was a race that was, sort of fell apart at the end. It had a really fast pace. It fell apart at the end, and he was making a late run. This race will be run differently. Maybe he'll get a good trip again. I wonder if he's good enough, even if he runs his best race.
The 1 3/16 might be an issue for the number 2, Monongahela. In the past, Monongahela has shown the ability to get to the front in these longer distance races. Of course, that was when he was trained by the controversial Jason Service. He raced twice for Chad Brown. Not so good. Brittany Russell last time out, maybe he was compromised by a slow pace and a very sharp horse. The winner came back to earn a 102 buyer in winning a restricted stakes race at Delaware. That being said, I'm not sure if Monongahela is the same horse he was when he was with Service.
Yeah, I agree with you. Obviously, he does, he has a couple of races back there when Service had him briefly that would give him a real chance in a race like this. I don't really know where those races came from. Obviously, he has not been nearly as good since he left that barn. But even when he was good, Dan, this wasn't a horse that I ever trusted. He has a lot of hang in him. He's just not a horse that I want any part of in this race. On the other hand, he's probably a big price in here. So if you're a believer, you can take a shot with him.
Conversely, the 3 Pluca Parfait, I believe, is going to handle this distance. He did so when winning the UAE Derby as a 3-year-old. It was a very weak field, and I thought his Kentucky Derby was actually a good race. Ricardo Santana Jr. gave him a very nice ride that day, saving ground in behind Code of Honor, and Pluca Parfait was just not good enough that day. One of the problems with Pluca Parfait is he doesn't win races very often, but he does have tactical speed, and I thought he was compromised last time out, Mike, in the Charlestown Classic, a race with no pace, won in gate-to-wire fashion, and this horse was 4 wide on the backstretch trying to get into it.
Yeah, didn't have a great trip last time. The other interesting thing about him, Dan, is it feels like, I know he's already run 15 times, and it's October of his 4-year-old year. I feel like there could still be some improvement left in this horse. I don't know that we've seen his best race yet, but he's going to have to do that. I personally haven't seen him take the step forward yet from 3 to 4, but maybe it's coming.
You were making fun yesterday of the sensational Smarty Jones. What a racehorse. You were making fun of his prowess as a stallion. Here's another good one. Someday Jones. Let's watch his most recent effort in the Stormcat Stakes at Parks. He tries hard in here. There wasn't a lot of pace, and the favorite, wait for it, got away to an easy pace-pressing advantage. Someday Jones tries hard to finish second. He's won 11 times in his career. He's banked almost $650,000. What do you have to say now?
You could only have brought up that Smarty Jones stuff to get me into trouble, Dan, and I am not taking the bait. I will not comment on it any further. This horse is actually fine, and he's the kind of horse, I don't know that I love him at the morning line price, Dan, but I want to use him somewhere because he does have tactical speed. I think he will get the distance, and he's got races fast enough to make him a major player in here.
Nah, I agree with everything you said. He's a cool horse. He's a hard hitter, and he really does seem to like this distance. He's having a good year. Tenfold to number 5. Well, he likes the Pimlico Special. He won it last year. The problem is the pace situation might be a 180-degree different situation than it was in 2019, where there was a wicked pace up front, and Tenfold took advantage. This time around, Tenfold might not get the pace like last time. He was completely compromised in the Charlestown Classic, trying to rally into that pace. And 2 back in the Gold Cup, he's in against Improbable. The time before that against In By My Standards. The time before that in the Pegasus World Cup. He's a little bit dirtied up. It's all about whether he gets something to run at.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, he's another horse that is getting class relief in here. And he did win this race. Not only did he have a big pace last year, Dan, but he also got a great ride from Ricardo Santana. And I think that made the difference in that race. Listen, if you think this is really major class relief and he's going to turn it around here and run a big race, have at it with this horse. I think he's too short a price on the morning line for me. I just don't want this horse if he's going to be around second or third choice in this race because I just don't like him that much.
Clubman, the number 6, is a nice horse. He's seeking his 11th lifetime victory. He raced in this event last year. He was a gigantic price. He didn't make a dent. He hasn't done much recently. He's stretching all the way out in distance. He looks like a deserved long shot.
He does. I like him as a horse, actually. I just don't like him going this far.
Forewarned, the number 7, wants to go this far. I really think the distance is very, very good for Forewarned, who has won at 1.25 miles in the past, and is another horse that just didn't really have any chance in the Charlestown Classic the way that race was run. That being said, he probably had to do better 2 back in the Governor's Buckeye Cup if he's going to win this race.
That's true. The pace of this race, I really don't think helps this horse. The distance does. I don't think the pace does, though. He's a horse who wants something to run at. And he may not get it here. He's just one of those horses, Dan. I don't like him on the win end of this race, but he's going to be a big price, and I wanted to use him underneath. I think he can get a piece of this.
And as we said in the open, Owendale is simply the horse to beat. Multiple graded stakes winner, 3rd in the Preakness at Pimlico. He handles the track, multiple grade 1 placed. And last time out in the Ali Sheba, Florent Giroux did what he had to do. There was no pace in the race. He got up close 3 wide, right outside By My Standards, and he just couldn't get by that horse. It was one of his better races, I think, considering the race was run. I think Johnny V will take him back a little bit more this time around, thinking that the distance is really going to work in this horse's favor. He just has so many things going for him as the best horse coming in.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I think there could be some questions about him. I mean, it's not like he's an absolute standout in this race on figures. So there are a couple horses who have races that would have put him very close to Owendale. It just feels like he's probably a little bit better. He's been facing way better horses. I'm personally not sold on him as, 8.5. 9.5, 10 furlong, 11 furlong kind of horse. I don't know that he really wants to go that far, but against these horses, I think it's fine.
Completing the field is Harper's First Ride, the number 9. This horse has really gotten good for Claudio Gonzalez this year. 4 for 7 in 2020, including this victory in the deputed testimony last time out. And Angel Cruz gave him a very nice ride. He was able to tuck in behind horses early. We see him angling 3 wide on the outside. He makes the lead, and he's just going to go on with it for a 96 Beyer speed figure. This is a horse with good tactical speed. He can go to the front if the pace is slow, and Angel has shown the ability to actually take the initiative if the pace is slow. So I think Harper's First Ride is going to be hustled out from that far outside post and get a good spot going into the first turn.
That's what I liked most about him, too. I think he's going to get a good trip in this race, and he could still have some upside as well. So he was a horse that I was definitely wanting to use in here. In that video we just watched, there you saw him running right by Cordmaker, who was in front of him. between those two horses, it was sort of no contest for me to take Harper's first ride. I think he could take another step forward in this race.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the Grade 3 $250,000 Pimlico Special. I'm not way against Owendale. He's going to be a short price in here. I'd have to use him in any kind of multiple race wager. I'm a little fascinated with Pluska Parfait. I just think the trip worked against him last time out in the Charlestown Classic where there was nothing for him to run at. We saw a horse that bombed in the Charlestown Classic, Mr. Money, rebound with a graded stakes victory in the Ack at Churchill last week. And he likes the distance. Now he has a little bit of tactical speed. He'll be a price. I'm going to use him mostly with Owendale and the number 9 Harper's First Ride. 3894 for me. You're going with Owendale, 8947.
I think he just might be too good, Dan. I actually like. I like your pick. I think of the longer prices in the race, I think you landed on the most interesting one. We'll see how that horse runs for you. I just kept it logical in here. I just think Owendale's too good for these horses, and I'm not going to try to beat him.
Race number 11 at Pimlico on Friday is the first leg of the Pimlico Special Preakness Stakes Daily Double. An approximate post time for the special is 6:23 Eastern. Best of luck.